understand the impact of social media on corporate communications.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Hash It Out. Today we have Nishita with us. Nishita is an experienced marketer with over 15 years of experience across retail, advertising, and brand marketing, having managed brands such as Centerpoint, Lifestyle, and Mercedes, to name a few. And currently she leads the external communications for Landmark Group, which covers thought leadership, reputation, crisis management, sustainability, and employer branding. So thanks for coming, Nishita.
Thanks, John. Absolute pleasure to be here.
Likewise. So the first question, what defines success on social for a corporate account?
I think let's take a step back, John, and understand the impact of social media on corporate communications. Being mass and being so dynamic in its nature, social media has made communications, communication experts rather, to see how simplified messaging can get, corporate messaging can get to be understood by masses in more engaging content forms. Today, a platform like LinkedIn has close to 1 billion plus followers across 200 countries. And therefore, that's the amount of possibilities in terms of global reach that a brand and a corporate brand can have. So when you look at this space, you suddenly have so many corporate brands. Almost every corporate brand today has their own pages, and that's their own space, their own media. With corporate brands being largely dependent on earned media for so many years, I believe there's a blurring of lines between social media and their owned platforms and earned media. And that is where I kind of term as a space which has evolved as social PR. What was professionally earlier known as just PR has today become social PR. And therefore, the dependencies of brands now on earned spaces is not as high as it was before, because now they have their own channels to make announcements and other initiative announcements, which were not possible earlier because of what earned media channels and traditional platforms would want to pick up. And that is therefore also redefined what is success for a corporate brand on social media. I believe today, with the amount of engagement that happens, it's imperative for a successful brand to be proactive and perceptive, to be engaging, to be consistent, and more importantly, they have to be relevant. All of these factors together is what creates a successful corporate brand, in my view.
And it's interesting how these two worlds are merging and how part of corporate communications is social now. Like you don't expect only the social media manager or the social team or the marketing team to be on top of what's happening on social. It's part of the job description now. And also you see some brands, the corporate communication team manages their LinkedIn, not their marketing team, not their social team, which is it builds on what you said as well. Okay, so having said that, influencers also used to be a separate part in some industries, some brands. It's part of the communications team, sometimes it's the social team. So should corporate accounts or brands work with influencers?
Oh, absolutely. But it's very clear that what's the nature of messaging that you want to deliver through influencers. Influencers, as typically and traditionally as we know it, are people who have a very strong online persona. With their followers on LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok and those kind of platforms. So how do we want to select those influencers to deliver our messaging is very crucial. Influencers, if you look at platforms like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, if you're looking at those platforms, those influencers are great if their online personas, their content, their values, all of this sync with your corporate brand image. And they're great because they're a mass medium in a way, right? And because they're mass medium, what they can do effectively is take communications which are related to sustainability, to social impact, these kind of messages which want to be understood by masses and taken to masses, I believe influencers are a great platform for that. But when you look at corporate messaging from an employer brand perspective, from thought leadership perspective, then we need content creators. We need people who understand the brand firsthand, who've experienced the brand, and therefore they embody the values and the brand messaging. They understand the culture of an organization and things like that. So if those are the kind of people we want, and that's the kind of messaging we want to deliver, then there is your employees who are your best advocates, because they live and breathe your corporate brand every day. They live your purpose, they live your values. And employees, therefore, along with your partners and your stakeholders, I think, are a great mix of advocates for a corporate brand.
And how do you get the employees to actually participate? Because you see different types of brands. You see brands that their employees are going viral, just creating content all the time. And then you see brands, you don't know who really works there. You don't know what's behind the scenes.
Correct. And if you actually see, statistics will tell you that your employer brand is so important to this. And if you see the statistics, you have almost 68% of millennials who check out your social profiles before they want to engage with your organization. So prospective clients, prospective employees look at your employer brand. What you create in that space, how do you engage with your employees, therefore becomes very crucial to how you kind of deliver that side of a brand persona. And therefore, whether you look at promoting and co-creating employee-generated content, do you look at promoting specific events where employees have outdone themselves? Do you celebrate their achievements? Do you bring teams and engagement opportunities to the forefront? How do you bring all of these moments together and create those moments of relevance for employees to feel proud and to feel happy to be associated? And that kind of also feeds back into employer branding.
It's a full cycle. It's a full cycle beyond marketing.
Beyond
marketing. Definitely makes sense.
Like MIT Sloan kind of puts it, right? Today, employer branding is an imperative to marketing brands. So that's how exactly we have to view employer branding, corporate branding. It all kind of sinks in together.
Yeah, and it's priceless when it works,
Absolutely.
Which is the best thing. Okay, you mentioned earlier LinkedIn. So for a corporate brand, of course, LinkedIn is crucial. And if you had to choose like three things, what are the three most important things that a corporate brand should do on LinkedIn?
For LinkedIn, because it is such a strong professional network, there is fantastic opportunity for creating thought leadership. How leaders engage, how organizations engage on LinkedIn is very crucial, because it's not just about sharing trends and best practices and so on and so forth. There's a huge opportunity to lend perspective to each of these aspects of professional messaging. And that's where the engagement with stakeholders and audiences on your pages kind of comes through very sharply. And that's where I believe that organizations need to focus on. How can we kind of create those engaging moments, add value through perspectives which are very relevant and beneficial for your stakeholders, and bring them onto this platform. There are so many content forms today available, whether it is videos, whether it's carousel formats. But I believe that the newsletters, which is the most recent trend that's picking up on LinkedIn, is so important to keep getting your audiences back to your platforms, to be more engaged, to add in value and perspective, their own perspective to your views. So I think these are great ways of taking a corporate brand.
Yeah, it's definitely important to have something to look forward to. Like, why should I follow this page? Why should I come back?
Absolutely.
It's definitely important. And what are the things that you cannot do for a corporate brand? Like, let's say comparing to your previous roles where you weren't on the corporate side, there must be some things that you're like, I wish I could do that, but I can't anymore.
I think what happens with corporate brands is that they're perceived to be stiff. Consumer brands play and talk and address emotions of audiences. And that's where corporate brands are evolving today, right? Social media has made marketeers and corporate communications professionals think and evaluate how they are going to humanize and simplify content for it to be easily understood by masses. Because that's the purpose of being on social. You want to be mass, you want to be understood by stakeholders very easily. And I think sharing that knowledge and adding perspective is what a corporate brand needs to really do well. Consumer brands, I enjoyed that side, so I can't say that I'm going to play favorites with either one. But I think consumer brands, like I said, they address to the emotion. And corporate brands need to they don't address to emotions always, except when it comes to employer branding and those spaces. But I think corporate brands also need to simplify down, and that's what is happening today. I see the World Economic Forum doing a great job in the way they are putting content together. If you see the amount of people who access their information, be it topics of research across environment, about investments, about the way countries are economically developing, all of those spaces are easily understood. I think that's